With the prevalence being, around 12% of the general population, which is a high number, you'd think that medicine would be up on this whole area of treating patients with chemical sensitivities, but clearly the story goes over and over again where people have to go from doctor to doctor to doctor, and many don't find doctors and seek outside of the medical profession for some kind of help or treatment. How do you explain this gap in the numbers showing such a high prevalence with really little to no help from doctors?
I know what you mean. This is also what I'm fighting. It seems to me that doctors, or traditionally trained doctors, view this, I don't know why, but with skepticism, probably because they haven't been trained in understanding the links between chemical exposures and health. Typically they think, well, if it either causes cancer or it doesn't. They don't realize that between no effects in cancer, there's a range of other morbidity effects that these chemical exposures can cause. Also, without trying to get too much into the politics, that a lot of the medical education research is funded by the pharmaceutical companies, and pharmaceutical companies are the pesticide companies, and pesticides are implicated in MCS, and it's the whole field of synthetic organic chemistry. So there's an implicit financial interest on the part of the companies funding medical research and training to try to repudiate MCS. And so you're really fighting against an industry too. Also, there aren't any quick, easy fixes with drugs that can cure MCS. It often requires getting off of all traditional synthetic medicine to be able to become better and detoxify.
That makes sense.
It's not patentable. One of the best strategies for reducing the incidence of the illness and the symptoms is basically exposure. But you can't avoiding exposure, avoidance. But you can't make a profit on avoidance or on patenting exposure. So there's not a real profit here. So it's, again, without getting too much into the money and the politics of it, that's what I find that traditional doctors just don't get it yet.
Thousands of dollars on medical care, and I'm practically broke. I think I've got $40 in my pocket, and all my credit's ruined. I've got no job, and I'm living in a national forest. It's really a struggle just to come up with the money to eat, and there's no end in sight. I mean, the future looks pretty bleak. I'm out here living in a tent. There's almost nothing being done to study multiple chemical sensitivities. The future from where I am, it's beautiful out here, but I can't stay in a tent the rest of my life. I'd like to get back to some kind of a real life and some kind of engagement in my profession, or some profession, where I can at least feel like I'm accomplishing something. This isn't easy, just being out here in the woods.
I'm Allison Johnson. For over a decade, I've been writing books and making documentaries on the subject of multiple chemical sensitivity. In the 14 years that have passed since I produced and directed my first documentary titled Multiple Chemical Sensitivity, How Chemical Exposures May Be Affecting Your Health, more and more people have succumbed to this condition. Hardly a day goes by that I do not hear from someone who is close to despair as they see their former life slipping away from them as they struggle with a condition that has been largely ignored by the medical profession. For decades, there was great resistance to the idea that smoking could be a health hazard. Today, there is a similar resistance to the concept that exposure to the ever-increasing number of toxic chemicals in our daily lives could cause health problems. Before she developed MCS at age 32, Jen Duncan had a lot going for her in life. She had excellent and creative jobs. She enjoyed dance and yoga and African drums.
That it would make me disintegrate and have the disorientation and the trouble breathing and the great pain, joint pain. Spelling is hard. Numbers are hard. I have dyslexia sometimes now. Like I always check and double check. I would write an envelope and it would be returned because I mix up numbers. I never had a problem with numbers before. I did calculus and differential equations, and if somebody asks me numbers or to spell something, it's really hard. Sometimes it helps me. I knew a little sign language before, so I'll usually spell out just to help me get something physical to get the numbers or letters out. Sorry, I'm getting fatigued, so I'm trying to just ride the waves and hold my energy together to get through.
In closing, I have a special request for those of you who are fortunate enough not to have developed multiple chemical sensitivity. Your efforts to treat those with MCS with kindness and compassion instead of skepticism will do much to make their difficult lives more tolerable.